We are going to talk about fear. Um, I was a really happy kid. Like, you know, before puberty, I was like just a super happy kid. Uh, and in high school, all I wanted to do was hang out with friends. I, you know, I have a great family, but I, came from a divorced family, and my priorities were probably screwed up, in the sense that I put more emphasis on seeking friends that felt like family and some social acceptance when I should have been definitely focused on just spending more time with my family. But as a teenager, you don't always know that. Um, but I found success in wrestling. I found success in just socially at that time. And I went to college. I was the president of Tau Kappa Epsilon at Bryant as a sophomore, which was interesting. And then my father came out the next semester and pulled me out because he said I'm not going to pay for these grades, and that was totally fair because I wasn't doing that well academically, and let's be honest, someone like me shouldn't be uh, in school. But again, that was what you do at that age, and I didn't know any better. I was just trying to do the thing, and you know my focus wasn't grades or learning what they. Well, that's not true. I enjoyed some of the classes. I remember talking about the um, OJ Simpson case at the time. Um, and then, yeah, I dropped out of Quinnipiac after I went to Bryan. I went to Quinnipiac, dropped out of there. Again, met some great people, and I just didn't really blend in with academia. Calculus definitely wasn't for me. I think I bombed that class twice, maybe at two different schools. But happy kid doing my thing, and it became important to me when I dropped out of college is to make money, like earn a wage that someone with a degree could earn. Right, that was my focus because I didn't want to be at a disadvantage because I didn't have a degree. I didn't buy into the whole thing exactly. So I got into sales. I worked in Las Vegas. I worked at AT&T Wireless, which was going through a singular merge at the time, and that was a blast. Uh, and then I got a job offer. I interviewed for a job back east where I'm from in Connecticut at Cintas for an outside sales position because from what research I did at the time, I figured I could make more money in outside sales than inside sales. So I got a job at Cintas, and that was my first outside sales job, and it taught me a lot about just the fundamentals of sales. And there's what's considered the sales Bible. It might even be called the Sales Bible, I think, by Jeffrey Gitmer. Um, that was good reading at the time. But experience is important. Experience teaches us everything. Um, but so I learned that a little bit about myself, just going up, talking to people, and where to spend my time. Right, there's a decision maker. There's someone who writes the checks, who runs the business, who makes all of the hiring decisions, and that's where you want to spend your time. You don't want to waste your time talking to all other 50 people in the company who can tell you yes or no, but at the end of the day, they can't. They're not the decision makers. So that's what Cintas taught me. Management comes in, changes everything. Shout out to Dan Benelli, who called me a barefoot. What did he call me? A barefoot frisbee throwing motherfucker. Yeah. But new management comes in and wipes out the sales staff. I'm the last sales guy to go, and I end up taking a bartending class and working at Mango's. Ugh, Mangoes in Brantford. Fuck those guys. Fucking assholes. Those the three owners of that fucking shithole brought me downstairs. This is like around 2007, 2008. I'm just a bartender, and I like gave a waitress a shot around the holidays, like Christmas or New Year's. I gave one of the waitresses a shot. I probably did a shot with her, and like a week later, a few days later, or something, they pulled me downstairs. They have all their like computer screen camera setups or whatever, and it's the three owners, and they're showing me like me giving the waitress, the shot on camera, and they fired me. And I left, and I'm fired, and I'm just thinking like, dude, if you don't like me, just fucking tell me you don't like me and fire me. Like, what the fuck was that? So I didn't. After that, I went into painting. Um, I had experience painting, some in high school and some while I was at Quinnipiac. So I kind of started my own painting thing after the sales, after the bartending. I kind of went back to something of what I felt like I kind of maybe knew how to do. So I started painting, and then I got recruited to go to Apex Systems. I got a call. I just kind of had feelers out there while I was painting, for the sales stuff, and I got an offer at Apex. Started interviewing, and with the intent to go into an account management role. And so I did. I recruited for a few months and went into the sales role at Apex in 2011. And then, if you saw the previous videos, I quit in 2015 on the spot when I found out that my boss was tracking me in some kind of underhanded way. And then the targeting started. And so this video is about fear, because it's what they do to you physically, the sleep deprivation, the noise campaigns, the harassment. It takes a toll on you mentally, physically, emotionally, and once you understand just how synchronized it is, and that I can't go anywhere. I mean, you can't either. You just don't know it yet. You can't go anywhere in the world without realizing their presence. Like the targeting program is real. It doesn't matter where you go. Like they're, the biodigital convergence, the biosurveillance, all this stuff connected to the cloud. It's no bullshit. Like they're tracking everyone, everywhere, all the time. And the street theater and everything else, and the litigation, the prosecution, the police harassment, all that stuff. When you don't know what's going on in the world, right? I was a happy kid. And then you come to the reality of what this place is. It's earth-shattering. It's heartbreaking. And I was afraid. I was very afraid. I mean, I was afraid to leave the house. Afraid. I still don't like being around people. I mean, it's, yeah. But there was real fear, and someone saved me. She told me there's a theory that we make our agreement with God before we come here. And that made sense to me, because time isn't real. I don't believe the physical is real. This is a very real experience, but it's for the soul, the intangible conscience, or whatever you want to call it. And so that theory helped me, saved me, that if we make our agreement before we come here, we signed up for this beginning, middle, and end. And God's in control and knows everything that happens to us. And it all makes sense to me now, for sure, but it didn't at the time, and they want us to be afraid. So I just want to let you know that you don't need to be afraid, and you shouldn't be afraid, and they want us in fear. And you don't have anything to be afraid of. It is terrible what they've done and are doing, and probably what they intend to do. But yeah, uh, I'll try not to cuss, but don't be afraid. And do your research.